another name that's out there that, boy, he had a title on YouTube that got everybody interested. I think Bobby Lashley posted something like Bobby Lashley's huge announcement or something like that.
Yeah.
And the reveal was he's buying a big fancy motor coach for travel. But I think a lot of people were wondering, hey, if he's no longer under contract with WWE, what's next for Bobby Lashley? I'm not saying you have a crystal ball or any inside news, but do you think Bobby Lashley winds up back in WWE, or is he going to do a tour of duty outside? And where might that be?
Bobby's hard to figure. He's a complex guy. Talented, yes. Looks phenomenal. Uh, I remember vividly conversations with him on how he got paid. He just didn't grasp it, and the concept of discretionary monies. So it's up to the guy that's writing it down on paper what your payoff's going to be. Sometimes we were right, sometimes we were low, and sometimes we were generous. But it's discretionary. It's to the decision. It's up to the decision of the individual making the payroll. For many, many years, I made the payroll at all the house shows, and I would write a form for the pay per views, and that's the only payroll that Vince looked at, pay per views, because that's where the most money was available to pay the talent. So it's hard to say because Bobby, like I said, is very complex. He's a different cat, and he's smart. And but sometimes smart people have a tendency to overthink things. And if Bobby's not in an overthink mode, which I have no idea, I haven't talked to him in years. Then, but if he approaches it that way, uh, he'll do good. He'll do really good because he's going to be desirable. Like you said, Japan's an option. I don't know how the market is there. It's not like it used to be, but still, you can go over there and make a decent payday. Scott Demore could use Bobby Lashley. I think AEW could use Bobby Lashley, but it's all a matter of the cash that you got to invest to get the talent on site, and then the creative that you're going to use to utilize it.
Let's talk a little bit about a major event that happened this past weekend. We're talking about UFC and the Spear, but before we do, one last name on this free agent discussion.
Yeah,
I saw an interview with Big Bill, who's done phenomenal work in AEW, and I think the entire wrestling community is pulling for him. He's the latest and greatest success story of pulling the nose up and having a second act and
yeah.
all those good things. But he also talked about his pal Enzo. He says, still good friends with Enzo. He's the effing man. Enzo is. And people ask me about Enzo all the time. And I tell them, he might be the only person I know that's a one of one. And they ask, what do you mean? There's no one else like him on the planet. He is a one of one. You can't replicate him. He's an incredibly talented guy, man. One of one. He's a unique breed. I hope he gets another shot in pro wrestling. He's too talented to not. He's so clever, unique. Wrote most of his own promos. He's just a funny guy. He's very clever. A one of one. You know him when he walks in a room and you know he's there without even looking. I can't say that about many other people I've come across. And when you go back and you look at clips, man, Enzo and Cass were over like Rover. And respectfully, when they were across the pond in Wembley recently for the AEW show, the entire audience is singing along for Big Bill. And I was watching with a bunch of friends here at the house, and I said, hey, they're singing for him based on his work with Enzo and Cass. I don't know necessarily that they're singing for him based on the work he's done in AEW. Not that he hasn't done a great job there, but I'm just saying the heights he and Enzo achieved as far as connection with the fans. I don't think that's been matched recently.
I,
What
I
do you
agree.
think about the idea of Enzo in AEW? Do you think there's any possible way that happens in the future?
Yeah, of course. I think so. Why not? Like I said earlier, it's the same concept. You don't turn your back on talented people if they want to come and contribute to your company. And again, Enzo brings a little baggage, but he's colorful, he's talented, and the upside. I mean, he's not going to be a big investment to get on the roster, but over the long haul, he can certainly earn a lot of money. And he's got that look was very unique. But he's talented as hell. He was a fellow college football. He's an athlete and a good athlete. So why not give him a shot? You never know what's going to hit. And look at this. Look, we'll put that slide back up there. Look at how he has outfitted himself. I think that's important to realize. He's thinking. He's trying to reinvent and be different. I've been a fan of Big Bill's for a long time. I made fun of his name backstage when to his face. I said, "Man, they really gave you a hell of a nickname, right? Big Bill." But I guess it's working. But he's another guy. I said this one time in a meeting down in NXT years and years ago. You don't find athletic 7-footers every day. So if it takes you a little longer to coach them up, go coach them up. Because once you get to your destination, after coaching them up, you got something special. 7 feet tall, close to 300 pounds, athletic. He doesn't have 2 left feet. He doesn't stumble around like a Clydesdale. He's good. So that's another guy. You just don't turn your back on talented people. You figure out, you get your creative people to figure out a way. Look at that guy's look. And look is so special. It's so special. It's a look business that we are in. And if that's not a good look, I don't know what is. I'm sorry. I'll tag out and move on. But I think he's got a bright future as a single.
Yep.
But that could come from being tag partners with Enzo. You know you could evolve into that, and I think that's something to think about. So I like the fact I like adding new to the roster and new motivated, self-motivated talents that are looking for that hot tag back into the game. Enzo would fit that description.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.